Welcome to God Winging It. God Winging It, not me winging it. My name is Roger Michael Klang. I mainly use SR Ekut as a source. Let us delve into today's topic. I am at a crossroad right now. The ruling party in Sweden, not exactly the land of milk and honey any longer, and our politically brown-blue Prime Minister, plus the Sweden Democrats' brown pants Jimmy Åkesson, are dead serious about introducing a Nazi ideology in my country. And by the way, blue is the color of the right wing party in Sweden, as well as it is the color of the Sweden Democrats Party. But they are brown. I can no longer point a finger at Donald Trump. Donald Trump is what he is. There is no denial. The US administration is what it is. But I must look inward now. I must look inward now at our fascist government while there is still time. Before the bourgeois make a Franz von Papen and allow Jimmy Åkesson to become prime minister, or any minister, so that he can swine up our country, turn it into a Nazi Reich. Unclear if he would call it a Third Reich or a Fourth Reich. What do you think? If you don't know who Franz von Papen is, he was the bourgeois Reich Chancellor of the last year of the German Weimar Republic in 1932. He led a reactionary transitional government in the final stages of the Weimar period and later played a decisive role in making Adolf Hitler Chancellor, after which Papen himself became Vice Chancellor between 1933 and 1934. He was acquitted at the Nuremberg trials. I am telling you, they hanged the wrong people in the Nuremberg trials. The bourgeois government of Sweden is actively participating in the fascist movement. Now they want to get rid of all the immigrants who does not earn at least 30,000 kronor a month before tax. 30,000 kronor is about 3,500 US dollars. The median salary in Sweden is about 37,000 kronor. The average salary for a care assistant in elderly care in Sweden is approximately 28,700 to 29,400 kronor per month before tax. How very odd that the bourgeois government set the limit just above that salary. What a coincidence. My 2 cents on this? I say they are traitors to my country. Them and the Sweden Democrats. They claim to want to make it better for the elderly, the people who built this country with their own hands, the people who nearly no Swedes want to take care of for a living. This has otherwise been the Sweden Democrats' mantra for decades. Now it apparently is the ättestupa that is in. Ättestupa is an old tale about Vikings forcing the elderly off a cliff when they were too old and tired to contribute to society any longer. Fuck 'em, racist Nazis. The Sweden Democrats, that is. Would you want your old dad to be forced off a cliff? The Sweden Democrats doesn't care. But maybe I'm being a little bit too hasty in my conclusions now. Maybe the bourgeois government and the Sweden Democrats are thinking of forcing the low-income immigrants out of their jobs taking care of our elderly and out of Sweden, like we said. But at the same time forcing the low income and unemployed Swedes or otherwise people with health issues into the labor market in the soon to become all private owned elderly nursing homes. Because that is what Ulf Kristersson wants to do. He's aiming to privatize the elderly care to 100%. He's also aiming to privatize the apartment market to 100%. They call their neoliberal attempt not market rents, but security rents. Can you imagine the audacity calling market rents security rents? What kind of a human being is Ulf Kristersson? Both brown and neoliberal at the same time, it appears. Like Elon Musk. If you're white and rich, you'll do just fine. And in the end, isn't that all that matters? Continuing. More than 100,000 people are currently waiting to have their citizenship application tested. Those who do not make it in time to become Swedish citizens before the new rules come into effect on June 6th may be rejected. That's odd. June 6th is our Independence Day. It is also a holiday. But when it comes to the other requirements, such as how long you have lived in Sweden or the self sustainability requirement, those who do not meet the requirements will be rejected. Is that fair? I say no, no, no. It is after the changes to the Population Registration Act in 2022 that more homeless people have been deregistered as missing and have ended up outside large parts of the welfare system. Kaliber has been in contact with Sweden's 10 largest municipalities and their outreach teams. In half of the municipalities, they experience an increase. 2022 was also the year the brown blue government took office and is holding to at least September 2026. The change in the law is said by the perpetrators in the bourgeois brown government to be intended to combat welfare crimes and give the authorities greater control over who lives in Sweden. Could it be that pushing out non self sustainable people is intentional? You think? Svensson, if you're not taking a stand against the brown and blue fascists now, they will come for you too. At least if you are one of the unfortunate people. Are you? Do you know any? Any family members, perhaps? So listen to this, knowing what I have said so far. The government and the Sweden Democrats on Wednesday, the 5th of May, presented a summary of the brown and blue Tide agreement ahead of the elections in fall, focusing on progress in migration policy and healthcare strategies. Prime Minister Ulf Kristersson emphasized that not all problems have been solved, but that Sweden is on the right track according to the agreement. Well, 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 the smoking gun. Wasn't I right? I am a Swede since at least 10 generations according to my DNA test. Well, actually, I'm 6.7% Finnish, and I know exactly whom it is. My mother's father's grandmother. But let us, for the argument, just pretend Finland was still part of Sweden 4 generations above me. It is estimated that for a prime ethnic Swede, it is enough to have 80% Swedish genome or Nordic. They are difficult to discern when using DNA tests. Let us outing Jimmy Åkesson. Surely he must have taken a DNA test. Anything else is unthinkable. Who exactly are your antecedents, Jimmy? If you're less Nordic than I am, Jimmy, then get the hell out. I take myself the right to decide who is a Swede and who is not, just like you do. So you'd better be super Swedish, you dick. Otherwise, strikes and you're out. One fascist less in my country. Up to prove it, I say to the Swedes for the coming election in the fall. Up to prove it is also a Swedish proverb. Sweden's foreign minister expresses concern that Iran has become more repressive after the US and Israeli attacks. The following is a quote from Foreign Minister Marianne Malmer Stenergard. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard in Iran has taken an even firmer grip on the state apparatus. We see that they are pursuing an even harder line and that Iran is becoming an even more closed off country. I cannot see that they have been brought closer to democratic development, and I can only regret that. End quote. The statement was made during a visit to Estonia, where the foreign minister was to discuss the situation in the Middle East. But she doesn't regret her own government's degeneration, does she? As we say in Sweden, first sweep outside of your own front door, meaning fix your own problems before you start to accuse other nations of misconduct. Excuse me for a minute while I sweep outside of my front door. I never thought we would become a fascist state, but apparently we are nearly there. Not as long as I am alive is another Swedish proverb, meaning exactly over my dead body. And finally, for this time, virtually every Sweden Democrat who ever claimed to be initiated, no matter if they were or not, is a pointless brigade counter. What is a brigade counter? It is someone whose solutions to problems for the military is to add a brigade or two to the Swedish armed forces. They thus can count to 4, but they know nothing about what solutions to implement for us to become an efficient military power. They know absolutely nothing and are good for absolutely nothing. And they're going to fuck it all up. They are ridiculous. Prove me wrong. And that's my 2 cents for today. Roger and out.